I guess in general, with all the films, what I hope for is that the film transcends towards your house. It becomes something that the film still lives in you in a way.
Wait, where are the kids?
Trent,
Kara!
come here!
Hey, have you seen my children?
Mom? I'm right here.
Dad, why are you looking at me like that?
Hey, Me Too fam, it's Danny, and today I'm speaking with the one and only Gael Garcia Bernal, who is starring in M. Night Shyamalan's Old. How are you today, Mr. Gael Garcia Bernal?
Very good. You? Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's good. I've had my coffee, breakfast. I'm ready to tackle this interview with you. Very excited to speak with you too.
Thank you.
So can you tell me a little bit about your character?
I play the character of Guy, who's an actuary. And those of you who don't know what an actuary does is applied mathematics, statistics. He has a family. He's a member of a family. Together they go on a holiday and they end up on a beach and they can't get out at a certain point, and time starts to travel really fast and many things begin to happen.
And how was it working with M. Night Shyamalan on this film? Were you a fan of his before? And if so, what were your favorite films of his?
Yeah, I liked a lot his films. I remember, it was a long time ago when I saw Unbreakable, which I saw was the first one I saw. And then I saw The Sixth Sense, and then I saw all his films when they were coming out. There was a rumor that Night was looking for me to play this role. I started to see his films again chronologically, and I was very excited about it. And when he offered me the part, I read the script and everything. I was delighted to be part of it. Yeah.
I really liked the film. First of all, it's pretty scary because aging is scary, I think. I think one of the biggest lessons I got from it was that time is fleeting, and it's really about kind of making the most of the moment. So is there anything you learned about, even yourself after filming this and completing it and just, being so obviously in it?
Yeah, well, it's very interesting to embark on this premise that is very provocative, no? Because time is the main rector of existence. It's something that we assume, and sometimes we perceive time differently. Sometimes time goes by really quickly, and sometimes it goes really slowly. But that's just perception. Empirically, the time doesn't, it has the same speed in a way. In our place of existence, in our human existence, in this planet, no? But even in this planet, sometimes, it's really curious that there's places where time goes in a different speed. But letting, that science aside, curious premise to say okay, what would happen? How would the characters react? How would the character that I just mentioned, that I play, react to something that all of a sudden, doesn't obey to any logic, and doesn't actually, no logic is relevant in terms to understand what's going on, what's happening. How would they do that, And that's something that I was very, curious about and excited about. I think we all shared a lot of, a lot of questioning and a lot of philosophical kind of considerations, that we were discussing all the time about what would it be, what time means, and where are we, and what's happening, and it was very, very interesting. It's much better to engage into a conversation like this than to not engage, no? So that was nice.
Totally. It was very existential too, on top of it all, it's like life being shown so quickly or in certain parts in front of you, and it's kind of forces you to think about that, which is really cool. I really like that about the film. Aging is obviously something that's a big part of, the film. So what was it like kind of working or acting against someone who's playing, say, a child, but they're very clearly not a kid, they're 25 or something? What was it like kind of getting into that headspace?
There's different points of view about that, in a way. For us to play the parents of these kids, it was fun, it was crazy, definitely. It was a risk, because we had no idea how to interpret that. I mean, because it obeys to no logic, no, in a way. So we had to just come up with an idea. I don't know, with a proposal and try out things, you know, and experiment and sometimes fail, you know, and maybe go this direction or try out this other thing, you know, and so that was really nice. It was nice to play that, but it's always a difficulty, you know. There's no formal logic on how to do that, how to interpret that.
Yeah, definitely. What was it like getting to play like an abuelito version of yourself?
Very fun as well, and it was you know, one of the maybe learning curves, you know, or sort of the learning processes that we experimented whilst doing this was, you know, the joy of looking at growing, you know, becoming wiser, you know, the curiosity of becoming, of living a lot, and what would happen at that point, rather than you know, to avoid the term aging or getting old, you know, because it, you know, in this cosmovision that we exist on, I mean, that we live on in Occidental way, we see that as something that's wrong, that's bad, that's kind of obsolete. And I think it was really such joy to be able to play, you know, the comfort that these characters go into, you know, when growing. I cannot say anymore because then I will start falling into spoiler time, and that's not good. Yeah.
Good enough. No worries. Thank you. What is like one thing you want audiences to walk away with after seeing the film?
I like a lot the films that offer more interrogations and open questions rather than answers. I guess in general, with all the films, what I hope for is that the film transcends the public transport that you get back to your house, you know, after you go to the cinema, you know, or that walk towards your house, it becomes something that the film still lives in you in a way. And that is always that's something that, you know, you try that to happen, and it's difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy because sometimes the alchemy doesn't occur. But I hope that with this film it'll happen, and that it will open up this questioning, you know, and that it will also naturally, audiences, I think, will reflect a lot on what we're living through nowadays with what we see in the film, because in the film we see a group of people that are isolated, living time in a different speed, but that's something very similar that happened to us during this pandemic. You know, there was an isolation that kind of allowed us to experiment time in another way. So there's an interesting reflection there, and I hope that it resonates.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Garcia Bernal. It was very lovely speaking with you. I really appreciate it.
The same. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and take care. I'm glad you like the movie.
know what this place does. I don't know. You're lying. Look,
What is that?
a message.
We never leave each other. Nothing separates us.
We're connected to something bigger.
Oh no. We're here for a reason.